Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shanna Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
What's up, y'all? I'm her husband, Fuzz. I push buttons. What?
And you have so much personality.
Uh-huh.
Yay. I feel like my voice is really deep today as I'm talking. Sorry, everybody.
It's HOCO week.
It's homecoming week. There was a lot of yelling today. Yay, cheering and chanting and
Go team.
All those good things. So I'm a little growly. But
Well, you weren't cheering for the team. You were trying to keep 8th graders in line.
There was lots of cheering for the football players, too.
Because you guys had an indoor parade.
I mean, it was a new thing. I mean, we had to try it. We had horrible weather today. It was cold and it was rainy, and everyone had put all this work into it, and so they came up with a solution to the problem.
And sometimes kids can get unruly.
And sometimes they get they were excited, and so it was containing the excitement, which, you work on it. So next year we'll just put some caution tape around the middle schoolers.
Or we'll wait a week and hopefully it's not raining.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well,
everyone was good.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't sound too growly.
No, it's not too bad.
It's not as deep as my voice.
Right. That would be a whole lot of special.
We're getting close.
Thanks. So, it's episode 34.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? I'm kind of sad.
Why are you sad?
Because we've officially passed up my podcast, which has been around since 2015.
Gonna drop my podcast because you
I don't record every week because I'm more interested in ensuring the success of your podcast, and also it's harder to find people to consistently do my dad podcast because usually I do it at the office.
Yeah.
And
people are busy.
There's work to do.
Yeah, you got to do things at work.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you've been on the show.
I have been. I got to be a not bad mom for a while.
Yeah, it's easier to do than this show.
Well, there's less. It's not complicated.
You don't really have to prep for anything.
Here we actually talk about real things. We learn stuff.
Right.
On yours, we just talk.
Your show has a purpose. My show's purpose is my ego. So.
Whole lot of special. But anyway, okay. So this week we're in episode 34.
Yes, congratulations.
And we're talking about some tools that can be used for flipped learning in your classroom. They can be used for other classroom things as well. I was just, I like a theme, and I was like, oh, well, everything you can definitely, if you're into flipped classroom stuff, or if you just want some tools to kind of jazz up your lessons, or and some of these you may have used, but they've made changes. So there's some different things to talk about. So the first one we're going to talk about is ReClipped.
Yes.
You actually found this tool for me.
I did.
Because I was in a stressful freaking out point because video notes, for those of you that that's video
Not.es.
So video notes is no longer.
Yes, it went away.
It went away.
Was that through MIT or something like that?
No, that one wasn't, but I don't think so.
University of Maryland?
Maybe. I don't know. So video notes we podcast about it before. It was where you watched a video and you took notes, and it was great. And it all saved your Google Drive and stuff.
Yep.
Well, I had a lot of staff that used it, and this school year when we went to use video notes, it didn't work and it was gone. Everyone's like, what are we going to do? So we had some workarounds with stuff, but then you were like, hey, I've been digging and I found ReClipped.com. So ReClipped.com. And it's great. It works. And the videos you can use in ReClipped, there's no weird, where you can only use certain videos. It works with YouTube and Vimeo and Khan Academy and all kinds of things. You can use ReClipped with so many video sources. There's no weird, no, you can't use that kind of thing. So ReClipped, it's very similar to video notes, but you go in and you pick your video and you're able to drop your video in, and then you can comment right along the side, and it puts in the timing of your comments. And
is it as good as video notes?
It's It's good. It's slightly different. Just the setup is different. Like, it doesn't save to your Google Drive. Like, that was one thing I loved about video notes is that
so if you're listening, ReClipped,
weren't like, hey, I lost it. I can't find it anywhere. In ReClipped, you have to actually go to ReClipped to find it.
Okay.
ReClipped is also like in a beta mode. So here's hoping that it stays around.
Well, it's better than the mode than video notes.
Right, which is in not mode.
It's in
no mode.
Omega mode.
It's gone. So yeah, you just click. So you go into ReClipped, you sign in. You can sign in with Google, and you cut and paste your video, like from YouTube, or wherever you're going to use your video for your classroom, and you click the little pencil, and it says summary note, and then you type in your little summary, and then it drops little pins along the line of like time that's being used, which is kind of cool. So you can actually see like pins are dropped where you have your notes in.
Yep.
And then there's the choice on this one where at the bottom it says only me or public.
Okay.
Or you can create a board. So you can show, like, if you want to make it public, everybody can see it. Or if you have only me, then you can do it that way. And then you're also able to share it out. So you can export your snippets either as PDFs or you can actually export to Evernote. So you can send out your notes from the videos, which is kind of cool.
This year, I'm going to go on a tangent for a second.
Quick tangent.
Oh, yeah. Wow, am I time?
No, you're fine. Go ahead on your tangent about Evernote.
Well, so I bailed from Evernote because there were all these
cool tech gadgets.
No, there was all these words that they weren't making any money, and people were afraid they were going to fail, and they were like, "What are you going to do if all of your notes that you've been storing for your business are on Evernote and they collapse?" Which, you're
right. It would be bad if you lost all your, right? Mm-hmm.
So I moved over to a product called Bear, which is only for Mac OS and for like iPhone.
Okay.
And hated it.
Didn't you end up like hand doing half of it? I feel like I remember you hand typing your notes in.
Twice. So I didn't hand type my notes like back in, but what I did was I had to like recategorize everything.
Okay.
So all like 1,300 of my notes that I had to like drop into categories and tag. Mm-hmm. And then I used it for about 3 months, paid the full year's subscription, and then decided, you know what, Evernote's not going anywhere. They got a new CEO, all this stuff, and moved everything back, but it didn't quite play well. So now I mostly just use Google. And
put everything in
I have a notebook that I write in now.
That's true. You have several of those, though.
I do.
You kind of collect.
There's something freeing about completing a notebook and buying a fancy new one.
You should kind of point out that your notebooks are smaller. They're not like a full notebook.
It's a moleskin kind of.
It's like a little notebook.
So we talk about this at work a lot.
You and your notebooks?
Yeah. Well, everybody. In my
your line of
group,
work.
Like we all have our like special notebooks that we like one.
It's like teachers and their pens, though, honestly. Yeah. Flare pens versus the Sharpie fine point versus, like, everybody has their thing. So
like our COO, so my colleague, he has this really big book with really thin pages. Mm-hmm. And he's had it for about a year, and he's like, 17 pages into it because it's so big. Mm-hmm. And, like, we're both going to retire, and he's going to still have space in that book. I go with the smaller book that I write a little bit bigger so I can get a new book
and you doodle
sooner.
On pages. And
yeah. Mm-hmm. I work for a creative agency. Anyway, that was all about Evernote.
And you get lost. Okay, so back to
ReClipped.
Cool.
So ReClipped can import into Evernote.
It can import into Evernote.
But it can't in the Bear, I'll tell you that.
Correct. Yeah. But you can also, what's kind of cool is you can have snippets, so you can just take like portions of videos. You don't have to do the whole video, and you don't have to annotate the whole video, which is kind of nice. Mm-hmm. And then they also have boards, so you can kind of create your own, almost like a Pinterest board, but where you have a board of like other people's videos that you can use, like if they've made them public, like you can share boards and things like that if you want to as well. So it's a little different as in it doesn't run with Google, but it does do the same thing where people can annotate the video. So if you're going to do a flipped classroom or like we've been talking about digital learning days coming up because, you know, weather, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like if you want to show a video and have students annotate it, ReClipped would be a good option if you are looking for something that's similar to video notes.
Cool.
So try it out. I actually was playing around with Lucas the Spider because, well, we love Lucas the Spider. My name
is Lucas. Yep.
Yeah, and I introduced him to my students this year because, like, I have a new group and they have not experienced Lucas. So.
Lucas is a pretty adorable spider.
He is, and my whole class loves him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I used I annotated a Lucas video just because.
Also,
you could test it out that way.
The font on ReClipped on their logo.
Yeah.
Pretty tight. Slick.
Yeah. Very good. Nice.
Toit.
All right. Second.
Yes.
Little video. Second.
Flipped classroom
tool. It's not even like, I mean, you can use them definitely in flipped classrooms, but again, you can use them for anything. And this one, I feel like a lot of people know about it. We call it Newsella.
Yeah.
But some people call it News ELA.
No, it's Newsella.
That's my thought too, but I've heard it said both ways. So we call it Newsella. Where I
am because from. They spell it.
But you think like News English Language Arts, like see how it can go like it's Newsella or News ELA.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, whatever you go with, they've made some changes. So those of you who have not used it before, the website, what it is it's really cool. You can sign up for free, and you have access to all of these new articles and these options for students to read. About all different topics, and you can sign up, and the changes they've made is they've made a lot of things go pro, so you have to pay for more than you did before. But there are still tons of free options.
Okay.
And what's cool about Newsella is that it connects to your Google Classroom.
Newsella.
Oh my gosh. So you can it connects to your Google Classroom. So log yourself in, connect it with Google, and then it connects to your Google Classroom, and you can assign students articles right through Newsella, and they can annotate articles all digitally, paperless, like
Newsella.
Oh my gosh. And so you sign in. Oh my goodness. You go to news, you pick your topic.
Yep.
And what's cool about the articles is that you can then so like the first article I clicked on, this 11-year-old speaks up for endangered gorillas. The article comes up. The article may come up on my screen. Maybe not. Yeah. Okay. So the article comes up and you can read it as is. It's set at max level. So in the upper right-hand corner where it says max, you can pick the reading level. So I can have, it's like a 430 to an 830, like you can pick the reading level.
Okay.
So what's cool about it is you can assign it to students at their reading level, and they won't know that they're reading something different than their peers because they look the same. They just swap out the language that's used.
Okay, so they can they can keep it at a higher level for those who can read higher, but
those that you need to understand the content but may struggle with the vocabulary, you can have them read at their level.
That's cool.
So it's kind of cool that you can adjust reading levels, and students don't necessarily, they don't know if you're just passing them out, or you can group students and have them, at levels as you need to. Also, next to then the reading levels part is activities. So they have built in like power words. So there's certain vocabulary that you can focus on. Also under activities, there's like writing where kids can actually annotate in the article if you're doing the digital version. Or then there's also a quiz in there if you want to if you need like questions, or you're trying to quiz kids and you're like, I need some quick like discussion questions, you can pull those up. So Newsella is really nice that it has all of those options, and it connects to your Google Classroom, and you can just assign things. What is kind of sad is that you still have some text sets that you can get to, but a lot of that they switched to be pro, where you had different kids like reading things that were similar but different. But they've made that where you got to pay
Way to go.
And a lot of the library they kind of put on lockdown.
Ugh.
But it is a really good product, so I can see why they would start charging people. But
yeah.
So Newsella.
Why don't you guys just free all the time?
If everything was free. It has a lot of options though, and it's kind of nice just because you can set up these articles and have students reading and researching. And if you're going to flip your classroom and they need to know the content before they come to class, they're kind of ready to go with some background knowledge, which is kind of cool. So
that's cool.
Newsella. Woo! I think a lot of people know that one, but there have some changes. So there you go. Our third website today, because we're doing 4.
3.5.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, 4.
I would give it 4. Is readworks.org. Okay. Readworks is similar to Newsella, where it's a site where you would find articles of information. What's nice about ReadWorks is the options are a little bit different. So Newsella, it's a lot of nonfiction. You can level everything, but it's kind of newsy. Yep. ReadWorks has options where you can pick your topics, just like Newsella, but you're also able to pick nonfiction, fiction, or poetry. So that's kind of cool as an option. Yeah. And it's K-12. Cool. Similar. So you have similar options. And then they have like article a day sets. They have reading passages, so it's not always full articles of information. Mm-hmm. But when you click on it, so if I click on like 8th grade, and then if I click on science, I can pick like Earth and Space Science. So the articles will be focused for 8th grade on Earth and Space Science. So you're searching kind of leveled articles. It tells you the grade, the level of the reading, how many words are in the article, and then if it's fiction or nonfiction, and how many questions come with it, which is kind of cool.
That's cool.
You click on the article, and then what's different in ReadWorks is that all of that information you still have as a teacher on the right-hand side, so you can see grade level, Lexile, what it is, vocabulary that stands out. Also gives you the standards that it aligns with. Nice. And at the top of the article, you can hit the play button and there's audio.
That's cool.
So for our kids that need them read to them or they comprehend better or any of that good stuff. Yeah. Or if you've lost your voice because you've been cheering all day long.
Yes, cheering. That's
that's
what you're doing. Or maybe you have students who are challenged with sight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're able to just hit play and the articles are read, which is awesome.
And also, this one also has the different levels, right? So
you choose the level before versus like Newsella, you change the level within the article. Okay. This one you choose the level, and then it gives you the articles. So it just gives you a little different like setup. Sure. But it also gives you vocabulary and it gives you a set of questions. And what's kind of nice is for those of you who are paper, you can print Newsella. Okay. You can also print ReadWorks, and when you go to print, you can pick if you want the vocabulary included, if you want the comprehension questions included, or if you don't want any of that. And it makes it like a print-friendly version. So if you have some kids that do it digital, some kids that need it print, some kids that need it audio, like you can differentiate the whole lesson, and it'll be personalized learning, and they'd be set and ready to go. So
they also have their article a day thing that they push a lot.
Yeah, and they're shorter, and it's kind of nice. It's just like a quick little set of information, which is cool.
That is cool, man.
Yeah, so Newsella, ReadWorks, both have, they're similar, but yet a little different for the different needs you have for your students, but definitely worth checking out, especially if you want kids to gain more content on their own and then come in with discussion and stuff ready to go. They're pretty cool.
Sweet.
And the last website for the day.
Yes, or maybe the first if you're checking your email. And it was,
yes, I'm like, wow, you're getting like tricky here. So, I was at a conference this past week. Yeah. Where we were talking about different things.
Oh, that's what they do at conferences.
We do. Yeah, we were talking about personalized learning. It's personalized learning convention kind of thing. And the personalized learning convening.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah.
Did you feel convened when you left?
Yeah, I did. And so when they
was that this week?
Yeah, it was Monday and Tuesday
This has been the longest week of
ever.
all of my life.
So that was Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
Which is actually last week, but this week.
As you're listening,
because as you're listening,
it was last week,
right?
But as we're recording this,
it's today.
In our kitchen on Friday, it was this week.
Right. Question. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so while we were there,
we just broke the time-space continuum.
I feel like I've got that thing that Hermione had in Harry Potter. You know, her little time spinner. It's where she like went back in time to go to class. I can't think of what it's called though. I want one of those. Okay.
Thingy spinner.
So anyway, as we digress, they give you, most people have been to conferences and you are overloaded with information. Like, oh my gosh, I want to try all these ideas and I'm going to do all these things and I want to share this with my staff and I want to get everybody involved and oh my gosh, all these things. And it was kind of cool in one of my sessions was like, hey, there's this website. And some people had already used like, oh yeah, I totally just, and everyone kind of forgot about it. It's called futureme.org. So if you've never used it, you need to try this. And if you have used it, maybe you forgot about it and you can use it more often in your classroom. So FutureMe, Future me.org.
Yeah.
You literally write yourself an email and then you get to date it, deliver in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or specific date. I set mine at 3 months because they said send it whenever you want. And I thought, in 3 months, that would be a good check-in for myself. It can be private or public and anonymous. And then you put in your email address and it confirms your email address before it actually sends it to you.
Nice.
And you literally write a letter to yourself.
So so you can't send to
no random people.
You can't.
I mean, I suppose no, because you have to people confirm the email is yours.
That's okay. That's a good idea. I was wondering because like you could send out emails to people and be like, "Hey, your breath stinks." I don't know.
Right.
Stop bullying me.
Go brush your teeth. So no, you have to confirm that it's your email address.
Okay.
So what was cool though at this conference, like,
that's good for schools.
Yeah. At this conference, they're like, hey, now all these ideas that you came up with, why don't you give yourself a check-in like 3 months from now? Have you tried one of these ideas out with your staff? Have you taken a step back and felt uncomfortable for a while because people are uncomfortable when they're learning new things or like that kind of thing? So like I sent myself an email for April like, hey, are you trying out? And I listed the ideas that I know that I wanted to try right away. Like, am I still working on those? Am I still working towards those goals? So I thought, what a cool thing to do with students. You could do it anytime. Like, you could do it at the start of a unit to the end of a unit. Like, hey, these are all the things I want to learn. Hey, at the end of the unit, did you learn all these new things?
Yeah.
I was talking with one of the other teachers. We were saying, hey, like goal setting. What do you want to accomplish before the semester's over? And then this little email check-in, hey, did you accomplish your goals? Or letter to self, like 4 years from now, like when you're going to be just about your senior year of high school, like all those kind of things.
Yep.
So I feel like there's so many ways in a school that you could use this.
For sure.
And kids' school email address, like stay with them for the 12 year, or they get them in second grade, so 10 years, whatever. So I thought it was kind of cool.
So this is all free, right?
It's all free. Yep.
I see actually there, I'm getting served an ad that my agency created. So I see that's how they're paying for it with ads.
With ads, definitely. Grammarly keeps coming up on mine. So.
But, they have Future Me Pro.
Yes, there's a pro version. Of course.
But
money.
I was thinking if they ever made this like a paid thing, I don't think they would. But if they did, you could replicate this in Google, in Gmail, by sending yourself an email and then snoozing it for however long you wanted to go. And then it would come back to you.
Speaking of snoozing, I don't know if you guys can hear the dog.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Dog is snoring.
Snoring dog.
Snoring dog is definitely snoring on the couch right now. But yeah, that's a good thought that you could do that. You could definitely do that in Google.
Yeah. So you can
just schedule your email.
If you never used the snooze function on Google, 2 functions I highly recommend for Gmail: snooze and schedule.
I use schedule. I can't say I've ever used snooze, but I've used schedule before.
So do you ever get, like, let's say it's the end of the day on Friday, and you get a nastygram from a family. You can go and hit the snooze button like our dog would.
She's so snoring.
And you hit the snooze button, and say, all right, I want to look at that at 6 p.m. on Sunday so I can tackle that before I go into work. But
see, I couldn't. If I saw an email, I would want to address it right away. I couldn't not see it.
But if you hit
but
snooze,
I would have already seen it to snooze it.
If you hit snooze, or you could even like not read it, just check a box.
No, I already know.
Click the clock. No. Let's say.
Let's do something I wouldn't dwell on because I addressed all of those matters.
Let's say you've got a bunch of student projects rolling in.
Yeah, that I didn't want to look at because I don't want to grade them yet.
Yeah, but you also don't want that like number in your inbox to be like 35.
Right.
You can select them, click snooze until the time that you want, and then they'll pop back up like they're new emails.
Gotcha.
And then you don't have to have the anxiety of having a big red box on your phone saying how many, or on your computer saying how many emails you have.
Nice.
It's
you
free.
know I like my inbox clear.
Yeah.
Never more than 12 emails in my inbox.
Inbox 0.
Everything is sorted.
Yeah. Not for me.
You talking about snooze, the other schedule.
Schedule, yeah. So on schedule side is the other way. It's being nice to other people. So saying, like, let's say you're up and, you're working and it's midnight and you don't want to send your students an email response at midnight. You can click the little down arrow. If this is in Google, click the little down arrow next to the send button. Click schedule. There's a little paper airplane. And then you pick the time that you want it to send. So, and I encourage that all the time at work because some people think that they get bonus points for
emailing you at 2 a.m.
Yeah, when really it's annoying because then you wake up and look at your phone and you're like, oh, I got to answer this now.
Right. And really, everyone just wants to sleep.
Schedule it early. Like, oh, wow, they got up at 6:50 and they sent me this email.
Right.
That's
good for them.
That's not too early, but also
it shows ambition.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Look at that. We have like all kinds of stuff this week. So now we have like tips and tricks along with our websites. And that's probably good because next week we do have our little fall break. So we will not be here next week.
Yeah.
We will be here the following week. So we'll be back the last weekend in October.
Yeah, a little fall break. Oldest daughter's competing in the National Powerlifting Championships.
Yep. All the things happen.
She's so strong.
She is.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, we will talk to all of you again soon. So, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartNWI. And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, visit smartnwi.com. In the EdTech Directory, you will find all of your needs. You can visit me on Facebook. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
Except next week. The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we hope they do. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. See ya.